Hey YouTube, this is Market Wingman MTG. Thanks for checking out my first video showing the mix of long form interviews and gaming content. I had the honor of hosting Dr. Bradley Hansen on my Twitch stream on Tuesday, and we had a great time talking about growing up with a sibling with special needs, graduate education, state government, and personal finance. So if you enjoy the content in this video, please leave a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. It doesn't cost you anything. And if you're interested in appearing in a future video, contact me at the email in the description below. I'd be more than happy to schedule a time with you to do this, and you'd really be helping me grow the content on my channel. Thanks. So, man, growing up in Long Beach, like, especially in your family, because Brad, let me be honest, you're like, when I think middle class, you're a definition middle class to me. Like the
Yeah.
two two income family, uh, four kids, lived in the one of the nicer neighborhoods still in Long Beach. Um, like nothing crazy,
Certainly
but
have.
yeah, but that's just what I thought growing up. Like my idea of middle class America was what I saw at your house every day.
Yeah.
Oh man, how are you gonna play? Man, I can't even block that. Like you coming at me hard already.
Yeah, man.
I don't accept that.
Well, yeah, I mean, growing up with, I guess, three siblings, one with special needs, it's probably really good that I was part of a middle class family.
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine what it would have been like if your mom or your dad didn't work? Like I couldn't imagine the additional stress that would have been in that household.
Yeah, and most people know that almost all the stress and energy in my family went to my little brother, anyways, because he had Down syndrome. And So I'm blessed that my parents were exceptionally middle class, and I was also blessed to have a bunch of friends that were, for the most part, middle class, and they basically treated my siblings and my little brother just like they treated me. So
Yeah, I mean
I can't complain.
your brother was just part of the team, man, and your older brother was everybody's older brother. Because all of us, I guess all of us with the exception of J Mac, were the oldest sibling. I guess Brian as well.
Yeah, and I'm also very glad that not only did my friends and family and everybody really, you know, embrace the Dakota. Basically, all of Long Beach did as well.
Yeah, right. Like he almost was like an unofficial mascot for a lot of the years that he was in school. Like
Yeah, and I mean he ended up winning like campus favorite, so
yeah,
at Long Beach High School.
man.
So
Well, that's awesome for him because as I can recall, I think the only thing you ever won was most likely to be on Jersey Shore, which was basically just saying that you were a d bag.
I mean, in high school, that's probably pretty accurate.
You know, thank
So
God that we all get the chance to grow up, right?
yeah, that is good.
Yeah, like
But yeah, I mean, I think really for me the hardest part about growing up was worrying about my little brother. So
yeah. I mean I don't know the statistics on Down syndrome. I mean, because I've seen a lot of people grow to live, full lives into older ages. Um,
yeah, well, I think nowadays with the advent of healthcare and knowing that Down syndrome babies usually have heart problems and then they can correct them early. Lifespan's probably about on par with the normal population, so that's good. And that's actually I was talking to one of the guys at work who used to teach special ed, and he said that's actually one of the big problems nowadays is the Down syndrome children are living beyond their parents, and it's causing issues with who's going to take care of them.
Yeah, it's like we never developed the infrastructure. Uh, Welcome to the story of our country, though. We never developed the infrastructure to plan for us to make it this far. Like
Hmm.
that's, I think that's remarkable, though. You know, with the advances in medicine as they are. Man, Fred, you really got me on my back foot here.
That's the way I like it.
Yeah, I see
But
that.
but yeah, I mean, I think my parents and family would agree that we're very happy that um, we had a very good experience being in Long Beach with all the resources for special education.
Yeah, I never
And
heard of another school just in the area that had the kind of access and resources that we had at Long Beach.
yeah, yeah, I mean, and up until probably the last year or so, I mean, it was really, really good, and never had to worry about him at all. But and now he's doing good, and he's out of school. So I guess as far as the school system, it actually that part of his life is over, and now it's on to the next life of him doing things that not even anyone in my family has done before,
Yeah, right.
like go on cruises and go to Disney World and
Yeah,
go
man,
to like WWE events. Just
that's just it's just wild. Like, but that's so cool that he's gotten to get those opportunities. And I mean, even just in the programs that are available to the differently abled communities that didn't exist in that area at the time. Like, that's just crazy. How am I gonna do this? This is either gonna win or it's gonna lose. So we're gonna see how that
that's
goes. That's really how that works, though, right?
I
I
think
think,
so.
yeah, I think this might be a dub. We'll see. I don't know. I think I might
Yeah,
have just lost. I might have just threw it on that one.
I'm not sure.
It looked right. It felt good. Um, yeah, man, that's yeah. And so uh, I know how it affected you. Like, so you don't see too many four children households. Like it's always three, and you get the middle child that you know is stereotypically not paid attention to. But then you had your sister, who also being the only girl in the house. So how did that like split? Like, do you feel like she also did not get the attention that maybe you should have gotten?
I was always pretty independent, um, as far as most things go. Um, so I mean, I don't really remember ever feeling like I was left out or forgotten, and I'm not sure my sister did either, because I mean, like most of the focus was all on my little brother, and and everybody in my family was on board with it. We all knew that. We're like, okay, when we get home from school, we're gonna take care of Dakota when we were of age, because my grandma really helped out a lot. But then when we were in sports, I mean, that was really the most the attention that we really got.
Man, and you're not even kidding. Like
Um,
I don't think I ever remember a sporting event or a concert or anything that your parents weren't at. Like y'all had the absolute highest level of support from parents.
yeah, and so like all my siblings would agree that, I mean, when we needed attention, we got it, like without doubt. And we knew that Dakota needed more attention than we did, so everybody kind of jumped on board pretty quick. So I would say that my sister probably had it worse than I did, being the only girl. But I mean, I think that probably toughened her up too. So
Yeah, yeah. You gotta make her strong, right? Yeah. I mean, yeah, you talking about everybody in your family just kind of buying in that being there for your brother was what they were gonna do. I think that really like uh, defines a lot of things. Just if you look at the demographic of your family, like your dad's a veteran, you sign up for sacrifice on day one.
Yeah.
Your mom's a nurse who has gone on to higher graduate studies and has made a great career. And when you sign up to be a nurse, that's you giving in day one. It says you're gonna work crazy hours and you're just gonna do what it takes.
Yeah, I mean, she was also in the military early
You,
on too. So
you know what? You're right. I shame on me for forgetting that your mom was also a veteran. Yeah. Yeah, and then I mean your brother, he also enlisted, and I mean you. I remember one summer, didn't you even go off to Annapolis for a camp?
yeah, I was trying to. I was really considering the Naval Academy, and then I mean, Colin was even there anytime my mile before I went there to take my PT test,
Yeah.
and like I was gonna go there, but then they ended up not having like civil engineering as I know it, and it was more like what they called naval engineering or something. They might have it now, but
Right. Or, I like
um,
state just stood up a program in material engineering, not military engineering. Heck, devil. Wow, man, you're really just like throwing the tank at me right now. Like,
but yeah, no, I was, and then like I tried to do Air Force ROTC after that, and then it was kind of in the time where Obama was downsizing the military. Not to get too political, I mean, I'm not gonna say whether that's a good or bad idea, but it was just it was what it was. And then you know, after that, by the time I graduated, and Trump came along, or even the later Obama years, the military started building right back up. So I think it was just kind of meant to be that I wasn't going to be in the military.
yeah. But then, I mean, you went to school for civil engineering. I mean, if you think about it, civil engineering is the original military engineering anyway. Um,
Yeah, I mean, and it's considered a civil service, at least especially when you work for MDOT, or you have the public in your thoughts at all times. So
yeah, right. That's
it's kind of a civil service job. So
man, I'm gonna, I'm gonna take it. We're just gonna see how that goes. Um, yeah, that is. Ooh, yes. Hmm. Yeah, that's the the interesting thing. Like, I mean, I never considered civil engineering as like a real option for what I wanted to do, but the at post graduation, looking around at just the state of our nation's infrastructure, it's definitely what I would consider one of the most important, or probably even one of the least considered as far as what's actually going on. What's the state of our flood management, our roads and bridges? Uh, I mean, working for MDOT, like what what's the kind of grading scheme that we've got in the state? How are we evaluating what we're actually doing to repair some of the stuff that we have going on?
well, I mean, so what I do right now for MDOT is we looking at bridge replacement jobs, and that's really because our bridges are in disrepair, and so I mean we're trying to do the bridge thing, but honestly, we're fighting a losing battle because we don't have enough money. Um, and it's being election year. They're funneling a lot of the money from the bridge replacement jobs to mill and overlays, which is basically just cutting off the top inch and a half of asphalt and putting it right back down. And it makes the roads look nicer, but the bridges just kind of sit there. And I'm working on a bridge right now that was built in 1956. It's on timber piles, and it's really bad. And the structural grade's a 14, and you're supposed to replace the bridge when it gets below 50, or it's eligible for replacement at 50. So it's just, I mean, that's just typical day at the office, and I think MDOT specifically does a really really good job managing the money that they have, but it's not really enough, and at this point it's so bad that we're probably not going to catch up, and it's going to cause problems later. But
So
um,
so do you like have a genuine idea that you think if we're going to generate revenue for getting our roads and bridges replaced in a timely fashion, I mean, what do you think it's got to be?
It's got to be the gas tax. I mean, uh, it's the biggest best way. It's it was installed somewhere in I think like 1987. I'm sure that my grad advisor, if I get that year wrong, is cringe. Somewhere around there, and the gas tax hasn't been changed since. And I mean that does a lot of sense. Um, what I mean, just if you calculate inflation, as we are already behind because it hasn't moved. So I mean that's probably the best way, but nobody wants to do that, and that's why I'm kind of sad that the Republican nominee right now is Tate Reeves, and he's not going to do that. Um, so I mean, if you want the roads to get better, I hate to say it because I'm pretty Republican, but or conservative, but I mean Jim Hood's the way to go.
Yeah, I mean we're in a state where gas is already incredibly uh, inexpensive. So the fact that we can't pay a little bit more, I mean, what's 5 cents a gallon gonna actually affect on the average driver? I mean, it'll affect transportation companies. It won't affect uh, John Doe, who's got to vote in November.
Yeah. And like it's just a user tax. So, I mean, people who don't drive as much aren't going to pay as much.
Right.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that I know everything about it, but I mean, if you want me a quick way to um if you want a quick way to just get revenue into the state, that's the best way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you think that no one considers everything how uh, we've got more fuel efficient vehicles and that no one ever plays into account how much that changes things.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of the big things with most DOTs in general is trying to stay ahead of the times. 'Cause I mean, not to get on a huge tangent, but I mean, autonomous cars and vehicles are going to be a big thing in the future, and the DOTs have to kind of plan for that. And how do you put money into planning for that when you have bridges and roads in disrepair? And then you have constituents in your ear yelling at you and telling everyone how much they don't work. And, you know, and then like one of the biggest things that makes me angry, especially working for the DOT, is um, I'll be on the right side of the road, just trying to get some work done, and then the driving public drives past me going like 85, and they're eating a chicken wing, putting on makeup,
Yeah.
yelling at their kids in the back, on their cell phone, and then they kill people. I mean, two people in the last month have died on the side of the road because they got hit by a vehicle.
Man, I you talk about people getting hit by a vehicle. I was just on the phone with my mom today, and one of her friends, Sergeant Rowe, uh, got some kid cut him off when he and his wife were riding their motorcycles, and he passed away from a result of the accident, and his uh, his wife is still in the hospital in somewhat critical condition. Like,
I mean, it's crazy, and I mean,
be safe out there,
like
guys.
you got to be, and when you're going through construction zones, slow down, and I mean, someone that works for the DOT almost guaranteed. And I know that you'll see there's always the jokes about people staying in the truck. Well, I've been on the road in the summer and it's like 130 degrees out there. And you need to take frequent breaks, you're going to pass out. I
Yeah,
mean, we had multiple heat event health issues this summer because people weren't drinking enough fluids and they got too hot. So, I
yeah.
mean,
And I think some workers unions, like once it gets above like 95 degrees, they're mandated to take like a 20-minute break after every 40 minutes of work. Um,
yeah, and we've started doing some of those things to try to avoid the heat events. But I mean, it's been so hot all summer with no rain, no cooling down in sight. I mean, it's kind of hard because you still need to get the work done in a kind of timely manner, and everybody wants to feel like they can do it.
right.
Um, Problems happen, and that's just kind of the deal. So I mean, I got a much more appreciation after working out on the road for even just one day about like MDOT or DOT workers sitting in the truck because all they're trying to do is cool down.
Right. Hmm.
I mean, surely there, but I mean, everybody's, there's an exception to every rule, and there's some DOT workers, and there's some workers that work at your job, wherever you are, speaking to the YouTube world, that are also lazy. So it's not like it's just a Department of Transportation or a state government or a federal government problem.
Yeah, it's Oh man, why you? Wow. Dang it, Brad. Yeah, man. Ouch. The for anybody watching, this just became a problem for me, and that just became a bigger problem for me. Why you treat me that way, man?
I
That
gotta
is,
get that one win today.
yeah, you're not wrong. Uh, you know what? This is just because I don't like that card. We're not gonna do that. Man, if I don't draw an answer, I wouldn't call that an answer. No.
I know you mentioned something about that Mississippi is voted the most corrupt state or
You
whatever.
know, and I was talking about that earlier, and I can't actually find like I was looking for the article and I can't find it.
Well, just let's just assume that it is, and like I'm not sure where the corruption is. I think it's more of the, I'm not sure there's much in the Department of Transportation, because I mean everybody that I know that works there, I mean they work pretty hard, and yeah, there's waste, but I mean, when you have 4 projects that aren't due for 5 years, I mean sometimes you're gonna run out of work. I mean that's kind of everywhere, but one of the big things about corruption in the state is I don't know if it's this like superintendent of Madison School District or the Secretary of Education for Mississippi, but
Oh,
they're like they're the highest paid in the
right.
nation.
Carrie Wright, Superintendent of Education of the state of Mississippi, makes $340,000, and the governor
The
makes like
highest in the
yeah,
state or in the nation.
the governor only makes like 120.
And that's just nuts because I don't know if you've checked the rankings lately, but Mississippi's not blowing the top off education.
Well, welcome to Mississippi, where if you ain't first, you're last. Um, yeah, you're not wrong, and I I can't even you know if I'm ever governor, you know, one we're probably screwed at that point.
Yeah.
But my first order of business will be that the superintendent should be paid based on how well the schools are doing.
Yeah, and really what is happening is all the money for education specifically is just getting funneled to administration and not the actual students.
You know, that's really just that's the whole problem rolling downhill though. Like
Yeah.
if you think about uh, if you think about everybody at the bottom mirroring everybody at the top, that's what's happening in our college system. College has gotten 3 times more expensive since the 70s, but it hasn't gotten 3 times better.
Yeah, and talking about my dissertation, because I know that's something you wanted me to talk about.
Yeah. Let's talk about
It
the
was one of
college
those things.
environment and how graduate school slowed you down.
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I always knew that I was going to basically graduate. I was never really worried that I wasn't going to graduate. It was just kind of, you had to do the work, and you might get delayed graduation, but the fear of graduating never really occurred to me. And I think that's kind of one of the issues with the college system is everybody eventually passes.
It's like, yeah, I mean, you either graduate or you run out of money. There's never really failing out.
Yeah, correct. And so, go to, and maybe civil's different, but go to your senior level classes or grad classes. I mean, people rarely ever fail. Yeah, they'll get a C. They may have to retake a course or something, but um, they they're gonna, most people, if they just stick with it and, like you said, have enough money, they're gonna eventually pass.
Right.
And I mean, but I mean, other than that, grad school is a mess because they do ask a lot of you, and then they don't pay you a whole lot, and
Yeah, did you see that
it's
some private schools in the Northeast, the teachers' assistants have unionized to require that they get better treatment?
oh, that's interesting, and I basically agree with that, but because I mean, they worked us hard, and most of it's for your. I mean, I was able to get 4 publications out. I'm still working on 2, but I mean that's pretty successful in 4 years. Not include so forward. That was just my dissertation. I had one for my master's as well. But I mean, they basically want you to do research. They basically want you to do all your classes, and then they want you to TA and so I mean they want you to do all of this, and I specifically like kind of took on the role of lab manager to help just get some work off my grad advisor so he could have time doing things that were important to me, like review my papers.
Oh,
So,
yeah, right. Because
and again, and every grad advisor is different, and for anybody considering grad school, I could say, and I'm sure if Mosher's still listening, he would attest that the most important thing that you can do in your grad career is have a good selection of your graduate advisor, one that's going to help you and push you along, and instead of just kind of letting you flounder. Because if you don't have a good grad advisor, I mean, that's when I might fear for graduation, because they really need to be there as a mentor, which is kind of their job.
right, but I mean, you talked about how your grad advisor was a mentor, but at the same time, did you ever feel like shackled down by him, like post graduation?
Um, there was a time, but and I mean, I've only just recently graduated in August, but I realized that even even if I thought that he was, he really isn't. And there's nothing that my grad advisor could do after graduation to me that I think would be like, like there's no real effect he can have on my life if I don't let him, like,
Right.
I mean, it'd be really be like if I had problems or something with him. I mean, there wouldn't. Not saying I do because I don't. I could just tell him, no, I'm done. I don't want to do the other 2 journal articles. I'm done. I'm out. But and I mean, I
Later.
already got the PhD. It's not like they can retroactively take it from me.
Right.
So so it's there's always that option. But no, I don't really feel shackled. I mean, I feel some loyalty, and I want to send other let's just like research money and help him in ways any way that I can, but it's not something that I feel I have to do.
Right. Man. So, hey, well, let's talk about the best part of your life right now. So, you're finally done with grad school. You've
Yes.
uh, your wife has finished vet school. You're both out, and now you get to deal with the probably the greatest challenge of life, figuring out what to do with money when you've never really had any. Um, so,
Yeah, so I mean, for those of you who don't know, my wife, she went to veterinary school, and so that took a lot of money, and so we had to take a lot of loans, and so just in student loan debt, I mean, I'm probably $180 in the and then not to include my house that we just bought, so I'm in a massive amounts of debt. But what my personal financial philosophy kind of has to be is that debt's really not that bad if you have a plan to get rid of it and you can pay your bills. Um, and so that's kind of how I've had to do it. I mean, I already know that I want to pay off our home loan in 20 years, and like this student loan debt, we did a payment plan that allows us to be a little bit more liquid and have more cash on hand instead of paying it off in 10 years. So we'll be paying off the loan in 20 or 25 years or whatever, but the payments are a lot more manageable. And will never have a problem paying them. And
Right.
so, and that's fine because it's manageable debt. I'm
Right.
not saying that everybody should strive to have that debt, but if you have it, you can really work around it if you're smart, and you can uh, just have a plan for all of it.
Right. Because like considering for us, like debt was an investment. Um, because we knew we were going to make a lot of money on the other side. But a lot of people just are not getting into that same situation.
Right, and there's dumb debt, and then there's good debt. I would say that if you're going to go to school and become a feminist dance therapy major, and you take on 50 to 60 grand in student loans, that's probably a bad investment. Because I mean, what are the prospects when you get out? You got to pay that debt back somehow. So I mean, if there's not a lot of jobs that make that much money to pay it back, I mean, you're kind of screwing yourself.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Man, you've got all the Gearsmith Guardians and no blue creature. That's,
Yeah, well,
yeah,
they're coming.
yeah, yeah. Don't remind me, man. I'm over here staring down the barrel of what you're gonna do to me. Um, ooh, okay.
And like eventually, probably in the next couple months, we're going to buy a car, which is going to be another debt because we don't have just the cash on hand to buy cash. Which, if we did, we'd do it because that's just much easier for one, and just instant no debt. And that's kind of what your philosophy is more close to. Save and then spend. Don't get into a lot of debt.
Right. Did I not pay? Did I do that wrong? Yeah. Pay. Hold on. I'm trying to do something technically complicated. I think.
Take your time.
Yeah. What's converted mana cost? I think I still need to do two. Yeah. Copy converted mana two. I think. Let's see. Let's see. I think everything I just did should work. We'll see. But yeah, no, that's just like my personal thing. Like, I think we have this unique uh, situation where we get to experience not being poor. We're just broke, and there's a firm difference between the two.
Yes, I,
Yeah.
I mean it's that's totally true. So,
Yeah. I mean,
um,
you also really had to buy a house quick. I mean, you put yourself in a situation with three dogs, and you can't really put three dogs in a 900 square foot apartment.
yeah, and like I said, I mean all these decisions that I made out of my own uh, have kind of come back to bite me, sort of. But I always knew that it was going to work out, and eventually I was going to get my payday,
Yeah,
so to
right.
speak.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I tell you about the time
so
Colin got my payday, right? Um, he I told him what day that we were gonna get paid because it was the day that we should have gotten paid for the Air Force, and I made
yeah,
this gross assumption that the entire DoD operated on the same schedule, and I was wrong. And now he has a peanut filled candy bar sitting on his counter. Yeah,
yeah. Well,
yeah,
don't make bad investments, Mark.
yeah. Right. That's the real solution for the day. Don't make bad investments.
I mean, and credit cards can be a very beautiful thing and a very dangerous thing,
Yeah, right. I
and
mean,
that's
like
and
in your situation, you basically needed credit to buy a house because you had really no other option for being able to buy a house to get out of the situation that you were presently in.
hmm
Yeah.
So I mean, it's kind of what happens in your life, and you know, you can't necessarily plan for everything, but That's why you should always have a savings account with what is it? Was it 3 months of your
Yeah,
bills?
3 months emergency fund. That kind of aligns with some of my financial goals for sure. Yeah.
And so, I mean, that's not bad advice, but not everybody can get there, and I know that people have to spend money sometimes. So
Oh
that's
yeah.
why I mean I have credit, and if for some reason I need to put something on a credit card, I can, and but as soon as I spend that money on the credit card, I'm ready to have a plan to pay it off.
Yeah, I mean,
So
that's all that matters is that you have the plan. Yeah,
that was wild.
that's. I mean, you left the attack wide open. I would have dropped you to 10. Um, so me just having any, the fact that they even give you that card in this deck is just like, hey, go get in a drug out game and do something fun. Um, I think so. Let's play one more game, and then I think we'll wrap it up and we'll call it.
Sounds like a PLA and
Yeah, I'm
plan.
gonna play a deck that features from. You know what? I think you made a Trump joke. I'm gonna play my Donald J. Trump deck. Um, I call it Jericho, but it's a deck that's all about building walls.
It's outstanding.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say okay, and for the first time ever, I actually draw the cards I need. So that's
Yeah.
that's important. So we'll see how
I'm
that
playing my
goes.
Nancy Pelosi deck, so you're screwed,
Oh
boss.
no, actually, so I say I drew the cards I needed, and then simultaneously I don't have the cards I need. Don't quote me. This is about to be bad if I don't get what I need. Okay. Alright. Never mind. Crisis averted. It's gonna be fine. Okay, okay. So is this the mono green deck?
Yeah.
Nice, nice. I think we play this. Play that. Yeah, I love the lands that allow you to deal yourself damage in order to get them untapped because you win. Winning's the same whether you win on 1 life or 400. No, don't do that. Okay, man, why you gotta treat me that way? Like, of all the cards you could have played, you had to play Blanchwood Armor, or you know what? I'm gonna take it. You've earned that. But then you're gonna feel my wrath.
I'm not scared.
You will be. Oh, wow. Why did I think you couldn't block me? I'm an idiot. Oh, man. That was bad. That's my mistake. I'm dumb.
Well, you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, y'all heard it here first. Mark is dumb. Whatever. I'm taking care of business now. Oh man, that card would have been great. But now I don't have it. Okay, I don't want that. I'm gonna play this. Don't be distracted by the man behind the curtain. This is where we proceed to see where I draw half the cards that I need to do things, and then not the other cards that I need to do things. This is no bueno.
Nancy Pelosi coming to the
Yeah, right. Coming to
save the day.
wow, man. 3 centaurs. It looks like you're about to like record a Harry Potter movie.
Well done.
Okay, this is bad.
Our destiny is greater than ever.
Well, it's gone next turn. Don't worry.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I mean, you say it's gone next turn, but I wish you'd read what the card actually says it does, and then decide if you actually needed to get rid of it. Assess your threats. Do you
Fine, man.
do
You're gonna
you
get it
do you
to the
assess
face.
any threats? Yeah, just Give it to me. Jeez. Yeah, I think I've lost. I've absolutely lost. We're gonna do this. We're gonna mill you a little bit. I don't wanna play it.
Heal.
I think that might have just saved me.
Maybe.
I think, cause you have 10. I can block one of your 3/3s. Man, you really gotta quit playing those things, man. You gotta quit ramping up your mana. I can't do anything about that. What you got? What you got? And you've got me on my back foot, so you do whatever you need to do. Okay. I'm gonna take this 7 damage and I'm gonna feel good about it.
It's good. It's good.
Oh my gosh.
Share in our strength.
Okay, I think I'm still doing fine. We'll see, we'll see. Why you gotta treat me that way?
You know,
I'm
it's
not,
what I do.
I'm not about that. If you do that, I'll lose.
Yeah, that's the point. But
Just gotta protect my people. Now what I need is to draw another one of those. Okay, okay. You get a land hoe. Now if you drew a Blanchwood armor, I'm not gonna. Okay, never mind. You need 3 mana to play that. Okay, well you do have technically 3 mana available to you with the druid. Okay, how am I gonna do this? I can't even use that anymore. That sucks. So
no fear.
you see how the deck is supposed to work, right?
Mm-hmm. The bing bong.
Yeah, but I actually lose. I block one of your things and you still hit me for 5. So honorable Sudoku, you can take the last game. Um,
Yes,
that's good. That's
yes.
gonna be it for the stream tonight. I want to thank everybody for watching. I thank Brad for being on the stream. If anybody else is interested in having a night where you just come on, we play, we talk about life, the things we're going through, just the everyday, and play a little Magic the Gathering. You know, throw it back to when life was easy and we didn't pay taxes. So you guys have a good night, and in the meanwhile, don't do anything I wouldn't do.